folks, I think that's pretty much everyone attending in who's jumped in now, as long as you can hear me okay. I'd like to thank you all for joining us today for our fire suppression webinar in conjunction with Reacton. We're joined today by Jack McCoy and Ed Shivers from Reacton, who are going to shortly take us through the presentation. After the presentation, we'll have a quick Q&A session. You should have a facility there to type any questions you want into the Q&A bit of the Zoom app, and we'll run through each of those following the presentation. We've also got a wee quick feedback poll that will pop up onto the screens at the end, and would appreciate if you take a minute or two to complete that. And without any further ado, I'd like to hand over to Jack to introduce himself and take us through the fantastic presentation. Hi, Jack.
Hello. Hi, Pete. Can you hear me?
Can indeed, yep.
Excellent. Hello, everybody. Well, thank you for the introduction and welcome everyone to the Reacton Fire Suppression webinar today. Thanks to the guys at Atlas World for inviting us along to showcase our products. As Pete mentioned, my name's Jack McCoy. I'm the International Sales Manager here. I've been with the company just over a year now, and I'm joined by my colleague, Ed Shivers. Ed is our Global Product and Certification Director. He's got 19 industry years behind him, been involved in Reacton since the current owners took over some 4 years ago. So Ed offers a lot of knowledge behind the product and the approval side of things, and will join us in the Q&A session at the end. Today we're hoping to introduce you to what we do, a bit more about our products, and why you should install a certified Reacton system to minimize your risk. So we'll get into it. I just wanted to go over some pretty striking stats surrounding insurance claims and fire statistics for you, to give some background into why Reacton was born and passionately developed by the current team into the company we are today. So over 70% of businesses involved in a major fire either do not reopen or subsequently fail within 3 years of the fire. In the US, 8,760 industrial or agricultural vehicle fires occur annually, resulting in $225 million of property damage. According to data published by the US Fire Administration, vehicles account for the second largest percentage of fire deaths at 15%. Buses and coaches, 63% of fires start in the engine bay and 15% result in the vehicle being completely destroyed. And then finally, fire is the #1 source of insurance claims in the waste and recycling sector. Every year in the UK, fire and rescue services attend around 300 significant fires in waste sites. Many of these are large-scale fires that have caused major disruption, with the cost to the fire and rescue services estimated to be in the region of £16 million a year. Pretty scary facts. Even this week, we've had some news of a fire at the Bombardier plant in Belfast, which, according to the BBC, also started inside a machine. So, as you can see, a little bit more about us. We're a UK-based company in Chelmsford in Essex, and all of our systems are manufactured at our facility here, around 30 miles from. The Reacton company itself is steeped in fire suppression history, incorporating back in 1996 with a crazy inventor working in his garden shed. And Reacton today is a world apart from where we started. One of the core parts of the Reacton system has always been our quality components, from our aerospace machine's stainless steel valve to our one-of-a-kind stainless dip tube, right the way through to our specially designed stainless steel nozzles. The Reacton system really is in a different league to our competition. Since the current owners took over in 2016, we've really heavily focused on bringing to market a world-leading fire suppression system that not only stands the test of time, but it's efficient, and most of all, it's proven to put out fires. We are constantly looking to expand our global product lines. We've recently announced our latest generation valve, as well as working hard in the background to listen to our customers' demands and react to the feedback given through our research, development, and testing to ensure we're moving the industry forwards and progressing it with ever-changing demands of machinery and customer expectations. We're trusted and approved by OEMs globally and specified by insurance companies to ensure that assets are protected from fires. And most recently, we've opened up our global offices in Dubai and the USA to allow for worldwide distributorship and a free movement of products to customers all over the world. So wherever your query comes from, we can react to it on a relatively local level. The sectors that we protect are really not limited, and the modular pre-engineered design allows us to protect a very wide range of applications. I'm going to go through a couple of those with you. They include electrical panels, as you can see, with environmentally friendly, non-corrosive and non-conductive clean agent extinguishing mediums. We use 3M Novec and FM200, which require zero cleanup, and it means our customers' assets are back up and running within minutes once a failed component has been replaced. Heavy vehicles and machinery utilizing a mixture of dry chemical powder and wet foam to offer unrivaled knockdown protection, as well as cooling for superheated surfaces. CNC and milling machines can be protected using various extinguishing mediums, but again, due to the exceptional stopping power and zero cleanup of our clean agent systems, these are typically the most popular for this type of scenario. We have a residential kitchen cooker hood suppression system. And this has proven to be extremely popular in student accommodation and accommodation housing at-risk people, such as care homes, dementia housing. Utilizing a fat sealing foam, this system is exceptional at stopping the spread of potentially devastating cooking fires. Our system is fantastic at protecting power generators and similar fixed assets, including even large wind turbines. We offer a multitude of agents to deal with these risks, and again, exceptionally easy to install modular systems across the broad range of hazards here. And then buses and coaches. So the Reacton bus and coach system is another star in the product lineup, starting with an exceptionally small and compact 4 kg dry powder system. Reacton boasts the smallest agent weight approved by the UNECE R107 standard, which is now mandatory on all passenger vehicles carrying 22 people or more. So we offer two different types of systems, the direct technology system and the indirect technology system. Here we have the direct system, which is mainly for use within smaller enclosures where the fire risk is relatively localized. The direct system is very easy to understand concept, where we have a pressurized cylinder housing the extinguishing agent, which is connected to a pressurized polymer detection tube. The detection tube, as you can see in the below photo, is then routed inside the hazard around potential risk points. Once a component inside a cabinet fails and sets on fire, the detection tube nearest to the fire will burst at the point of highest heat, which causes the tube to rupture and create, in effect, a nozzle. The extinguishing agent inside is then expelled from this point, suppressing the fire, minimizing the spread to other components, both internally and externally, and more importantly, not needing to wait for a fire to take hold before setting off a traditional total flood style system and dumping huge amounts of costly agent into a room, or setting off a sprinkler system, which might cause harm to other components and require costly cleanup. I'm now just going to show you one of our animations on how the direct system works in an electrical panel scenario. You should be able to hear it. The video may come across a little jerky just due to the way that we're hosting this today, but Pete assures me that the videos will be made available for everybody to see after the webinar.
Electrical cabinets and panels are a high risk for potential fires. They are designed to offer uninterrupted support for your business, but are often taken for granted. Not only is the critical function of the cabinet compromised in a fire scenario, it could spread to surrounding equipment, causing devastating damage. The key to minimal fire damage is early detection and suppression. Reacton have a solution that will directly protect your critical assets and safeguard your business continuity. This is achieved with the automatic clean agent fire suppression system. All systems are pre-engineered and are ideal for OEM and retrofit. The clean agent system from Reacton is installed directly at the point of the fire risk, providing faster detection and suppression than conventional external systems. Being extremely compact and light with minimal parts, installation is quick and easy. The clean agent technology offers protection for your Class A, B and C risks and has been designed to allow for leakage and certain ventilation conditions. The proven pneumatic detection system requires no electricity to operate, giving you full peace of mind that there is 24/7 protection with zero false alarms. It will quickly and safely detect and deliver the agent at any location the Reacton detection tube is installed. The system employs a specialist clean agent that provides rapid suppression leaving no residue, non-corrosive, and completely non-conductive. Combined with the detection and discharge at the source of the fire, your system can be back up and running in no time. Simple to transport replacements mean fast and extremely cost-effective full life cycle costs. Available in a range of system sizes with modular or multi-zone protection methods, protecting your critical asset has never been so easy.
So, as you saw there, that was the direct system, and we'll now move on to tell you a little bit more about the Reacton indirect system. So in principle, the system works very similarly to the direct system. It has the same pneumatic burst tube routed around the fire risk areas, but this system is typically utilised where the use of nozzles is required, typically in larger and non-concentrated fire risk areas. Once a fire occurs, the tubing will burst at the point of highest heat. The pressure loss in this process causes a valve to open. The valve opening allows the extinguishing agent then to be delivered through a network of discharge hoses, leading to strategically placed nozzles within the hazard. This pressure loss function can also be simulated through the use of a manual actuator. And I'll now show you an animation of the indirect agent system working on an excavator. So as you saw there, that was the indirect system in a large excavator. Moving on, we're incredibly honoured to work alongside some of the world's largest companies, both directly and through our distributor network. Reacton are trusted to deliver an outstanding solution to their fire suppression needs across a broad range of applications. Some projects we've worked on recently include protecting multi-launch rocket systems for the MOD, bespoke fume extraction cabinet protection for BOFA International, and continually working alongside manufacturers of heavy equipment to offer a market-leading solution. The next slide, I'm going to show you a video which shows how quickly the Reacton system can react, detect, and extinguish a potentially devastating fire. We've actually got some real CCTV footage from a waste site in the UK where a mobile wood shredder caught fire from a burst hydraulic hose. The footage is actually captured from a camera mounted about 4 meters high in the eaves of the roof, and it goes to show the effectiveness of the Reacton system. So as you can see from that video, a very large and potentially business-ending fire is dealt with extremely quickly with the Reacton dual agent system. Widely adopted by UK insurance companies, fire suppression is now specified under many insurance policies in the waste and recycling sector. Installing a Reacton system can not only lower your premiums, but significantly reduce the risk of a business having to close its doors for good after experiencing a fire. When it comes to investment in fire protection equipment, the waste and recycling sector is leading the way, and there's no wonder, as fires are the #1 source of insurance claims in the industry. So moving on, and as I mentioned earlier, we've really put a lot of time and effort into development and testing, and we're currently light years ahead of the competition. We're certified to incredibly high standards, and we're the world's first company to achieve the RISE Institute of Sweden P mark for heavy vehicles, which is SPCR 199. Recently, the Reacton systems passed through the P mark standard for 183 and 199, with the highest marks achieved globally. This stringent and demanding testing with an A+ rating means that you can rely on each and every component of a Reacton system. Not only is the system tested in 11 fire scenarios, each more demanding than the previous, but each component's put through thermo-heat cycling tests to check for longevity in the most extreme conditions, heavy vibration continuously for 96 hours to simulate the most hard-working heavy machines in the world, and very strict corrosion testing to ensure that the system will stand the test of time out in the field. Reacton also boasts the lowest agent weight solution certified to the UNECE R107 standard for buses and coaches. This standard is now needed across Europe when installing fire suppression systems into all buses. We've most recently passed all fire tests in accordance with the LPS 1666 standard for direct clean agent systems, and we've achieved pass marks allowing for the largest level of openings allowable by the standard, something not achieved by competitors. Our incredibly high quality manufacturing and quality management standards are also approved to ISO 9001, which is really testament to the incredible processes put in place by our technical team across all aspects of the Reacton product cycle. As you may have gathered, we're pretty passionate about supplying the best, and a lot of what we try to do is educating people around the need to install a third-party certified system. Would you have peace of mind with a non-approved system protecting your operators, workforce, and critical assets? Once a system's certified, you know it can achieve the following points. Testing ensures the system can extinguish fires in a multitude of scenarios, including hidden fires. Components are rigorously temperature tested, subjected to severe vibration tests, fully corrosion tested, and then the system discharge is tested to work after enduring all of the above. Quality inspection of the installations and manuals is carried out, and manufacturing quality control is audited. Lastly, ongoing surveillance of installations to ensure that standards are being followed. So, as you can see, a lot goes into ensuring a Reacton fire suppression system is not only compliant, but works every time in every scenario. We know that ours do, as we've spent a lot of time and resources on testing this, and we fully stand behind our systems working, saving businesses, and more importantly, saving lives. So that brings us towards the end of the presentation side of things, and I'd like to invite any questions that anybody might have.
Thanks, Jack. That was excellent, mate. Thank you very much.
No problem.
You covered all the main talking points around systems there. I think we do have a few questions there that I think Ed has been answering on the fly, but I'll maybe I'll read out the question and Ed's answer, and then if you've anything to add to it.
Yeah, great.
So the first question we had in was, what types of gas are used in the systems? So Ed has said there that it depends obviously on the application, but the gases utilised will be 3M Novec 1230 fire protection fluid and Schiemer's FM 200 suppression. All systems are super pressurized with dry nitrogen.
Correct. Yep. So those are the clean agent systems that I talked about. Other options inside the cylinders are dry chemical powder, a wet foam agent, and we can also supply an alcohol resistant foam and various types of different dry powder as well for other vehicle and airport applications. Good question though, thank you.
Okay, so that's sort of, it obviously depends on the application, but pretty much any and most eventualities are covered depending on the type of the risk and the type of fire, which will obviously determine the agent required, yeah.
Absolutely. And if you think about it like a fire extinguisher, you don't run into an electrical fire with a water fire extinguisher, and we're just the same. You have to think at every point when you're assessing the risk that you see ahead of you, what the extinguishing medium is going to be needed to adequately deal with that fire, not make it worse and put it out. So yeah, it's something that we're able to offer many different types, just completely depending on the application.
Good stuff. Okay, next one up then is from Paul. Is mains power required on any of the systems or just not needed for the smaller ones? So Ed has said there that all systems are pneumatic and require no power, so are all ready to protect 24/7, 365. Absolutely.
And this is one of the main things that sort of sets Reacton ahead of our competition. We use a polymer pneumatic detection tube. So in effect, it's a plastic pressurized tubing, which is always under pressure, 24 hours, 7 days a week. It requires no power at all to operate. And because the piston in our valves is completely pneumatic, even if a vehicle's sat up overnight or over a weekend, or an electrical cabinet, nobody's in the building, and the electrics are off, the lights are off, the system will still detect and still suppress without the need for any power. One of the other fantastic things is that the system can be linked electronically to things like an alarm system or an existing fire system to make people aware. We even offer, and as you may or may not have seen in the dual agent video, we can supply an in-cab monitoring system, which makes the operator aware that there has been a fire. There's actually an actuation point on that, but again, the system doesn't require any power, unlike some competitors who use different types of detection.
Okay, I suppose that's a big plus point then in terms of the installation as well, because obviously then that means you can put it where it's needed as opposed to where you can get power to.
Exactly, and we've got these systems installed on things like boats, super yacht tenders, in some really crazy places that you think, well, how the hell is that going to work if there's no power? And because it doesn't need it, you can put one of these systems anywhere and it will protect anything. Excellent.
The next time you're doing the super yacht, though, give me a shout. I don't mind shouting that for you. Listen, Jane has asked, can the plant system be fitted retrospectively, or is it only at the time of manufacture of the plant itself?
So I can see Ed's put they're very compact and ideal for initial or retrospective installation. I touched on the fact that we work with some OEMs and we do install systems at factory stage, but these systems can be installed to any machine. We've installed systems into incredibly old pieces of machinery for waste and recycling sites. Doesn't need to be in a brand new shiny machine at the time that it's manufactured. So yeah, OEM, factory fit and retrofit are all something that the system can be done.
Good stuff. So it can go in anywhere really.
Absolutely.
Sarah has asked what size of space can be covered by this system. Ed has responded there, just it obviously depends on the agent being used. But for example, the direct clean agent systems is 1 kilo will cover 1 cubic meter.
Yeah, exactly. So, we have quite a lot of options of cylinders. We start with a 1 kg system, a 2 kg, a 4, a 6, a 9, and an 18. But the great thing about the Reacton system is that the cylinders can be linked. So especially in heavy equipment and vehicles, Ed and I went over to the fourth largest coal mine in Mongolia in January. Fire suppression takes you to all sorts of weird and wonderful places, but we actually linked 6 of our large 18-kilo systems together to protect one of their largest excavators they've got on site there. So yeah, right from sort of 1 kilo all the way up to 108 kilos is what we typically offer. There will be bigger cylinders in the future as well, and the sky's the limit really there. You know, we offer our systems having passed a lot of rigorous testing, and there are limitations to that, but generally, yeah, the system sizes can range, you know, from very, very small to very, very large.
Okay. I think you touched on this one earlier. There's a question from Washington. Can this be interfaced to a fire alarm system for notification?
Yeah, absolutely. Every system can have what we call a pressure switch mounted onto either the valve head itself or onto the end of the detection tube. So once a pressure loss is initialized inside the valve, the pressure switch will kick into action and send an electronic pulse to an existing fire alarm inside a building. Yeah.
Okay.
Very simple to do.
2 questions in here on maintenance from Hilary and Chris. After a system has been installed, does it need any ongoing maintenance / servicing, and what would be the frequency required?
Yeah, we highly recommend having the system serviced. You know, it's part of the warranty stipulation, and especially in a piece of machinery, for example, you're going to be doing your daily operator checks, just making sure the system has pressure. And you know, it's very much a visual check there daily. And then every 6 to 12 months, we insist on the system being serviced by a trained professional. Again, the 6-month check is typically something that can be done visually. You know, it doesn't require too many parts, and anything that may have sort of happened over that time from an external factor, it gives you the chance to replace and just make sure the system's in tip-top condition, really. As I say, mainly visual inspections, as it is a pressurized vessel. We can, you know, visually check and run through all of the detection tube to make sure nothing's rubbing on any components on the machine, or if the machine's been adapted in any way, shape or form. You know, we install these systems on buses, and quite often buses go in for retrofit parts and new pipes get added and taken away. So that servicing point is a really, really nice point for you to actually just have a look, make sure that you're still protecting what you set out to protect and that nothing else has been changed inside machines. Again, on the static systems, so electrical panels and that kind of thing, it's mainly a visual inspection, just checking the detection tube, checking that there's no wear and tear around it, or any sort of third-party contamination, I guess. Yeah, incredibly simple to service, but you know, must be done by a trained professional because these are pressurized vessels.
Great stuff. And I suppose, as you said, it's just to really ensure that the system is still set up as it should be, to ensure it's going to work when you need it, as your video showed there.
Yeah, absolutely. Just something that I haven't touched on really is the system life. So there's a 10-year system life on all Reacton systems. A couple of our competitors have 5 and 7 years, and typically the pressurized cylinders themselves are the limiting factor here. So you know, the cylinders we use, life cycle is up to 10 years, and we thought, well, let's make our system something that's going to last those full 10 years, and we can, you know, you don't have to swap the system out after 5 to 7 years. So again, cost of installation of a Reacton system versus a competitor is advantageous.
Okay, I think that maybe covers then Ian's question. Do the cylinders or extinguishing fluid have an expiry date?
Typically not. Typically, it's the system life cycle. Ed, do you have anything that you can add there?
Yeah, like you said, the cylinders have a 10-year shelf life according to the PED regulations. But the agents themselves, for example, the 3M Novec 1230 and the FM200, pretty much have an indefinite lifetime as long as they're stored correctly. So it's really the cylinders that are driving the 10-year change. So that's where we are on the clean agents such as Novec and FM200, and the 10-year life of the cylinders ties in pretty nicely with manufacturer's guidance on some of the dry powders. But again, some of these are very conservative figures, and in real life, they actually have really, there's no changes. They're in a pressurized vessel with dry nitrogen, so that there's not really any changes going on to the actual material there.
Does that answer that one, Pete?
I can.
Pete's dropped off, but yeah, we've got a couple more questions here. So, how do we engineer the system, i.e., quantity of gas, etc.? Do you want to run through that quickly, Ed?
Yes, yeah. So, with the systems, they're actually all pre-engineered, so there's no actual hydraulic calculations that need to be performed. As long as you stay within the limitations of our design manual, then that's fine. We know that they work. That's what we do all our testing for. For the where you said about the quantity of gas, with an indirect system, they are treated in a similar fashion to the total flood, where you will have a design concentration at a temperature for that classifier, and that will allow you to arrive at a quantity of agent, and then it's rounded up to the closest figure, which would be either a 1 or 2, a 4, a 6, a 9, or an 18 kilo. But there are no complex hydraulic calculations that are required to do this. They're very quick and simple to be able to arrive at the amount of agent you need.
Great, thank you, Ed. And then, yeah, there's a final question that's popped up from Chris. What are the global warming potentials of the chemicals used? I think you'll be best placed to answer that one as well.
Yeah, so we have the two agents in our portfolio there, where we've got the Novec, which has a global warming potential of less than 1. So what that really means is, when we compare things for global warming, we're talking about the equivalent of CO2 being released into the atmosphere, and Novec is the most environmentally friendly halocarbon on the market. And with FM200, we have, I think, is a value of 3,400, which is higher than Novec. But again, the quantities that are released into the atmosphere are extremely minimal, and the actual impact of release of HFCs in the fire suppression market, actually, with global release of HFCs, it only accounts for, I think it's 0.08% of all HFCs released into the atmosphere. So it's very easy to get tied up on those parts, but really it is extremely minimal, and these systems are there to provide protection. So that's the key part there, is to protect lives and your critical assets.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much, gents. I think that covers all the queries, unless there's any last minute ones. Obviously, if anybody wants to ask us anything further, we can contact ourselves through the usual channels. I'm going to pop up a little feedback poll here, if all you lovely attendees wouldn't mind clicking that before you drop off the call. And then in the meantime, while you're all filling that in, I will say thanks again to Jack and Ed. That was excellent. And I think if anyone has any specific queries, I'm sure we'll be able to accommodate a video call with yourselves and ourselves and themselves to have a good discussion around their requirements. As Jack mentioned earlier, we're also, as usual, be making a recording of the webinar available on our website and our YouTube channel for anyone to view. We'll get that link sent out hopefully over the next day or two. But otherwise, thanks very much to everybody who joined us today. It's much appreciated. And hopefully you'll join us for next week's one, which is going to be on our energy monitoring solutions, which is going to be delivered by our very own Ian Campbell. We'll have some details up on that on our LinkedIn page and send out a few email invites to everybody. But again, as I said, thanks very much to all the guys. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Ed, for joining us today. And we'll say thanks, take care, and good luck.